seriously unprepared to deal with attacks at its borders and along its coastlines. It's not difficult to imagine how easily chemical and biological or even nuclear weapons could covertly slip through the United States borders. The explosion of such a weapon prior to a sneak attack on Israel by its enemies could easily keep the United States on the sidelines. However, none of the explanations for America's absence from Bible prophecy are particularly easy to accept. In the final analysis, we really don't know whether the United States will be involved in the Battle of Armageddon or not.
The search for an explanation of America's absence in Bible prophecy has turned up another, even more provocative and controversial theory that hinges on a single premise: that biblical references in prophecy concerning the destruction of Babylon are, in fact, referring to the United States. The notion being that America has become the new Babylon. Interestingly, you don't even have to accept this vivid assessment to find some striking parallels between contemporary America and descriptions in Bible prophecy concerning Babylon. But what is the evidence that suggests such an idea?
Daniel, Jeremiah, Isaiah, Jesus Christ, and the book of Revelation all describe the destruction of Babylon. They also describe it as a great and powerful place. Jeremiah and Revelation call Babylon the hammer of the whole earth, clearly a reference to military might. That there is no other nation that exceeds her in imports and exports. That Babylon is the greatest merchant nation in the world, greater than all other nations that have ever been in recorded history. In Isaiah 47, Babylon is called a lady and the symbol of a lady. The fact is, there is no other nation on the world horizon other than the United States that can be described in these terms. Other biblical references to end-time Babylon are grossly inaccurate if applied to Iraq. Jeremiah 50 says Babylon would be the youngest and greatest of the end-time nations, and that when attacked, Babylon's adversaries will say the attacks are justified because Babylon is immoral. Interestingly enough, this is almost word for word what Osama bin Laden said regarding the 9/11 attacks on America.
Whether America is the Babylon of the end times or not, events foretold in the Bible clearly seem to be unfolding. For 2 millennia, Bible prophecy has proven uncannily correct, and many researchers and biblical scholars are confident we will see the end times in our generation. Others are more cautious. It is important to note, however, that Bible prophecy does not indicate a specific timetable for these devastating events. But we can be more than mere spectators. We can use whatever time we have for reflection and preparation. Untold millions of people over the centuries have believed, and still do believe, that God spoke directly to all of the prophets he has appointed. Nearly a quarter of the Bible, both in the Old Testament and the New, deals with prophecy, most of it already fulfilled. But the question now is the prophetic evidence we've seen so far sufficient to prove that we are in the wind-up phase of a weary world? In the coming weeks and months, it might be useful to keep in mind this brief summary of what the Bible prophets tell us.
You will hear of wars and rumors of wars, but see to it that you are not alarmed. Such things must happen, but the end is still to come. Nation will rise against nation and kingdom against kingdom. There will be great earthquakes, famines, and pestilences in various places. Watch out that you are not deceived. For many will come in my name, claiming, I am he, and the time is near. But mark this, there will be terrible times in the last days. People will be lovers of themselves, lovers of money, boastful, proud, abusive, disobedient to their parents, ungrateful, unholy, without love, unforgiving, slanderous, without self-control, brutal, not lovers of the good.
The events spoken of by the prophets reach far beyond their own time. Indeed, many of the prophecies seem to reach far beyond our time. Have we finally come to the end of the line? Does the reach of the ancient prophets extend only as far as our generation? Did the ancients indeed look into their future and see our present? There are those who say those prophecies can be attributed to almost any period in man's history, but Christ himself gave the answer for that in Matthew 24:38, where he warns,
As it was in the days of Noah, so it will be at the coming of the Son of Man. For in the days before the flood, people were eating and drinking, marrying and giving in marriage, up to the day Noah entered the ark. And they knew nothing about what would happen until the flood came and took them all away.
There is an old saying that reminds us it wasn't raining when Noah started to build the ark. Is it time to start preparing? The ancient prophets and Christ himself have spoken, but can we hear them? Are we willing to follow Christ's example and spend some time on our knees? Is it possible to change a few habits and spend more time with family, friends, and the church? One thing seems certain. Since God has told us he is unchanging, if the warnings of the ancient prophets are to be forestalled in any way, we will have to do some changing.